Spinning.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 124 of Behind the Tool Belt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer. TC Backer.
The Backer family, what is going on, man? It's Wednesday. It's the favorite day of the week. I almost said episode of the week. It's the only episode of the week.
It is the only podcast of the week that you need to know about.
Everyone knows. I mean, Behind the Tool Belt is Wednesdays at 7.
That's right.
We're episode 124, man, up here in Pennsylvania. The sun is shining this week, man. It's a beautiful day. We're all inspired over here at TC Backer, and we got a great guest with us today, man. Dylan Mullins from American Metal Roofing out of Ohio. Ohio, right?
Ohio.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How are you doing, Dylan?
I'm good, fellas. I appreciate you guys for having me on. Super thankful. Like I was telling you guys, this is a bucket list item for me, so I really do appreciate the opportunity to get on here and spit something. I don't know if I'm spitting knowledge. You guys gonna make me cry? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen, but we gonna get deep.
You might make us cry if you say that one more time that this was on your bucket list. You might make me cry a little bit. We're just a couple knuckleheads in the garage out here, out in the backyard. You know, with a couple microphones and some headphones and Facebook Live.
Yeah, dude, we were just trying to sell gazebos, bro. That's all we were trying to do. That's how started this podcast.
Yeah, for a donation.
Hey, this is kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, and it turned into Behind the Tool Belt, like, you know, behind the scenes and who people are. And we got to meet a lot of great people and find out some really interesting shit about them, like things that we had no idea about, their past, their childhood, how they found the roofing industry or how the roofing industry found them. Or
how it's changed their lives. Because, dude, Dylan, I know, we were talking about a little bit before we went live here, just where our industry is and, like, dude, the opportunities that we have now because of this industry. Like, who would have thought, 10 years ago, anyone getting into the roofing industry, that this is where the boat will take you? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is, man. It's God has blessed my life in more ways than I can count, and the roofing industry has been that vehicle for me, and I'm super, super thankful for that. I gotta give all the glory to God, man. Always, and if people don't like that, well, oh well.
Yeah. It's 2022, bro. Like, people can get over things they don't like.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, but you seem to be, man. I took some time after work today, and because I'll be honest with you, Dylan, I always thought, and I thought wrong. I always thought that you were part of the roofing.com team, because every time I see you, you always have a roofing.com shirt on, and I believe you have one on right now, actually. And I was like, wait a minute, this guy isn't even roofing.com. So, but that's a plus. That, number one, you represent them and what they believe in. That tells me a lot about you. What you believe in, what you your beliefs and all the things that matter to you. And going through, watching the things that you post and all that kind of stuff, like I can just tell that you're one of those guys that is drinking the juice of the industry right now. You know what I mean? And there's a select few guys that I would say are like leading that pack, man, and you're part of that. So
right, and trying to make a difference in our industry. You know, that stigma that so many roofing contractors or just the roofing industry as a whole has, like this. You know, homeowners just don't like to deal with roofers. You know, roofers have a bad rap, and you know, it just seems like that's the place where a lot of people end up because there's nowhere else to go. And that is true to a certain extent, because honestly, that's probably how I ended up here.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't have other avenues or other things to do, but I was good with my hands, and I liked that accomplishment that I felt after I built something.
Right.
You know, and with that talent and a little bit of street smarts and some hustle, you know, here we are today, I don't know how many years later, doing a Facebook Live with the Dylan Mullins of freaking American Metal Roofing, you know, out of bumfucked Ohio.
Yeah.
You know?
It is bumfuck Ohio for sure.
But what's crazy is I noticed, dude, you were in Carlisle on May 3rd, bro. You were probably 30 minutes from our shop.
Bro, yeah, we were up there doing a training, their coding training. Super informative, by the way.
Yeah, awesome.
Not endorsing Carlisle or anything like that. Just did a really good hands-on installation training. But yeah, man, we weren't far from you guys, and I thought about it because Keith Overmeyer's over that way, a good buddy of mine. Up probably a little bit ways north from you guys, but yeah, I considered swinging through, but man, we just had so much going on. Everybody knows. Hell, you guys were just talking about the weather broke, dude, and like, everybody assholes and elbows, man. Let's get it done.
Absolutely.
Dude, we're experiencing that right now. You know, just a funny, I was going through our calendar this afternoon with Britt. I was sitting there with Britt after I got home from work, and I'm like, man, we're really busy. We're really busy right now. Like, there's a lot going on. You know, Ty, I have a number for you, bro. You know, this week we're going to install 102 roofs.
Really?
Over 2,500 squares of shingles are going to get installed. So I just want to give a pat on the back to Tyler and Brandon.
Yes.
And Jim Roast. You know, that's a 3-man crew that manages that entire beast in the 5 states that we work in. So
yeah.
Kudos to you guys, man. You guys are fucking
real
animals.
And Gio.
Yeah, and Gio.
Yep,
yes.
so
You know,
Gio
all our guys that have a part in that, man. You guys are fucking animals.
And Vic.
That's awesome. Vic. I don't mean to like stir the shit pot here a little bit, but we're like installing 5 roofs this week.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, fellas. Like, for real, that's a massive accomplishment, and that's one of the reasons why this is a bucket list item for me, because I know the caliber of guys that you guys are. Just watching you from a distance here for the last few years, it's crazy in the world we live in. You were just hitting on that, Ty. The world that we live in and how connected we can be, even though we're not in the same state. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. If you would have asked me to fly out today for this show, I probably would have said yes. I'm the most human being you've ever met in your life. So I was this close to thinking about just surprising you guys.
Dude, I was this close to surprising you with a mullet wig today, bro.
Oh, bro, come on.
Seriously, dude, I fucking love it. I love it.
Too.
I love it. Like,
so, brand, brother.
Yeah, is that the trendsetter in you, or where did the mullet come from?
You know, it's crazy. When this thing eventually gets cut off, which it probably will, I'll have to quit telling the story. But what happened, man, is I realized that I didn't have to be the clean-cut, clean-shaven salesman. I sold way fucking more being me and just being this good old homeboy right here that you guys are sitting down with and slicing up with, that it didn't really matter, man. Like, it didn't matter. Like, I was me. And that's what, like, we talk about all the time, is just being yourself.
Yes.
So this isn't necessarily like, I'm not like, oh, gotta have long hair to rebel against society or anything like that. It's just, this happened because of COVID. I was like, man, I'm not cutting my hair till they open shit back up. And then I was like,
oh, man.
I gotta trim
2 years later.
You know, yeah, and here we are. But no, man. And then, you know, of course, the fiance fell in love with it, so I got to get married with it here in December.
Congratulations.
And she'll cry if I ever lose the beard.
Don't do it.
So, yeah, don't do it. Don't
do it, bro. Don't do it.
Leave it all on there. You know, sell yourself, man. You're yourself. And
for real.
I watched one of your videos earlier today, man, and I want to point something out that you said on there that I absolutely fucking love. You guys sell education, man, to your homeowners. You know, you were up talking about a apartment complex and some wind damage that you guys had up there. And, you know, just going on about how you educated your homeowner, you educated your customer, and that's the number one important thing. You know, why do you need to have this? You know, why hit the insurance company up? You know, all those things and all the education aspects, man. Education is number one thing, because they don't know why they need what they want. You know, what are they buying from you for?
Exactly. No, and that's where I think there's so much disconnect in. And Ty, it sounds like you actually come from a similar background as I do. I was on the installer side before I was actually, and I got forced into sales just because I didn't want to be an installer my whole life. I'm not knocking that. We need those guys. Just the drive within me, enough is never enough. And I think we can all relate on some scale to that. But yeah, man, like once I figured that out, because my brother got out of the Navy in 2018, in October 2018, he's like, hey man, you gotta teach me how to sell. And I'm like, I don't even know how the fuck I sell, dude. I just go and people like me and
Shit just happens.
But yeah, exactly, man. Like they're like, hey man, here's $20,000. But then I finally found a system, and I got to give all the credit to Chuck Toki over at Top Rep, man. Like he is, he's the master of that, man. He is the master of talking about educating and over-educating your homeowners. I mean, you don't want to give them paralysis by analysis, but man, you got to fucking let them know what's going on. Like if you're like, hey man, I'm going to install this arc shingle. Well, there's different arcs, and just because you said you're going to install this one doesn't mean it's not as good as this one. Or one guy could come and say I'm installing a metal roof. If we don't talk about the fact that it's an exposed fastener or versus a standing seam, they'll never understand why the price was different, and they'll go with the freaking Chuck in a truck who's going to fuck them over. And that's how many times have we've all walked on those jobs. You're like, oh my God, please, why didn't you call me first?
Yes.
Right.
Or why didn't you go with us?
Right.
But yeah, so education is the number one asset we have as companies, man. I say all the time, we're a people company that just happens to sell roofing. It has nothing to do about the roofing. I am passionate about the products we sell, but I'm not passionate about roofing. I'm passionate about my people. And that's where we talk about where, you guys have hinted on that I'm a trendsetter within the roofing community. That's really what I like to be known for. My people love me. We have very low turnover, and usually we have to let them go. It's not me, or it's not us. It's them, right? Or whatever whatever you say when you break up with someone. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really not me. It's me.
So, but yeah, man. So you're right. Educate. And the guys that are watching this, they're like, man, how do I get my business to the next level? Find a freaking system and then learn how to actually sell. Stop just saying, here's the price.
Yes.
Yeah.
And put your people, you touched on a little bit, put your people before profit. We talked about that over the past couple of days where it's like, it's our responsibility to keep that pipeline full. Like, I do not want to walk in that middle office and say, look, guys, things are starting to slow down. We're going to have to cut your hours back, or we just don't have any more work. You know, like we don't, none of us, there's some, some of us, Baker and Vic and Glenn and a couple of us that we talk on a regular basis about, okay, so like, what's our next move? What's going to keep the pipeline full so everybody can eat? Because right now we're tipping the scales here, like a lot of people and a lot of families, that we have to take care of. And that really right there, yes, we want to take care of our clients, okay? But first and foremost, we have to take care of our people. If we were taking care of our people, then they were going to take care of the homeowners. It's giving me freaking goosebumps right now by just saying that, because that is so powerful.
It is.
I mean, that is so powerful. If you can look further than this as a business owner, as a manager, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, okay, and if you can inspire your people, and that's the biggest thing, right? There are leaders, and then there are people who lead. Okay, and I'm sure you've heard that before, and it's like there are those people that can inspire people, okay, to do great things if you allow them and embrace that. Like Baker and I had a moment about 2 weeks ago where I approached him, and I noticed he started to dabble in some editing and stuff like that. And as painful as it was for me at that time, because I really thought that I wanted his focus to be someplace else, I had this moment of clarity where I was like, dude, what can I do to help embrace what you're into right now? You know what I mean? Because I don't want to lose him. And if he's seeking passion somewhere else in the company, then fuck, I got to embrace that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I have to embrace that. I think most people, whether it be fear, ego, or pride, would be like, yo, motherfucker, you need to be in the field watching your guys, okay? Because that's where I want you. No other reason other than an ego and pride thing. Not keeping an open mind and being like, dude, what can we do to embrace this new venture that you want to explore right now? And I seen a turnaround, a 180. I could see not that he lost his passion for the company, but his game had stepped up to another level that probably neither one of us knew even existed.
Yeah.
Because of just those few.
It inspired me, man. And just to take it from my point of view, you know, I got someone that, you know, I follow coming to me and telling me that. It's like, that allows me, number one, he doesn't realize it, but he's already instilled the decentralized command concept in me. So I have guys that are underneath me that I trust to make the right decisions. You know, I can't be everywhere at once. You know, we just talked about, you know, how many freaking roofs we're going to install. I can't be at all those job sites, man. It's impossible. It's impossible. Yeah. So I have to understand and work on that decentralized command and know and just hope, even if my guys fail, even if they make the wrong decision, I train them to do that. So if I train them wrong and they make the wrong decision, I have to allow that to happen. I have to be happy with it. Same with him. You know, he's going to allow me to make those calls. And if I fuck up, you know, he'll pull me to the side and be like, hey, this is how we messed up. You know, this is how we're going to fix it. But like, he's not going to butt in the middle of it before I fuck up. No. You know what I mean? He'll let me do it. And that's how I learn. You know, that's how people learn. And that's the culture, man.
The craziest thing about that is that I need him to screw up.
Yes.
I need him to screw up. I need him to learn from those mistakes. I can't teach him or show him, nor do I have the time, and half the shit, I don't even know what he's doing, but I need him to make those mistakes, figure it out, and improve upon it. And I know he's that kind of guy. He has the tenacity to be able to figure something out. Now, he has come to me with some questions and concerns and stuff like that, but that's what I want to be, is that sounding board at times. Like, and most of the time it's like, so what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What do you think should happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's what an inspiration leader does.
Right. I might have a few answers in my head, but I want to hear what he has to say. What's your angle on this?
If you couldn't get a hold of me right now, what would you do?
Right.
Yep.
You know, how would you solve this? And if I don't agree upon it, I'll give you my idea. But, you know, if it sounds good enough, I'm not even going to tell you my idea.
Right.
Run with that shit, man.
And that's where that culture shit comes into play that we were talking about earlier. I think our little friend over here, we have a little mouse in here that likes to visit us every now and then.
He hangs out, man. It's our live studio audience.
Yes. Nobody else comes but this little mouse here eating a piece of cheese in the corner. We have to tease him with cheese to come out to watch us. But anyhow, where was I on that? I got distracted.
I don't know. Some kind of good shit.
I saw a squirrel there. Sorry. Look.
We're talking about culture that we were talking about earlier. And cultivate that within your organization.
And that's how that culture happens, you know, and that's the thing. Ego, pride, fear, everything gets in the way. And to be a leader, it's so hard and so difficult. And there's so many aspects of being a leader. Yes, you can be born with some qualities, okay, whether it be empathy and understanding and open-mindedness. But to maintain that and then grow in other areas where those things aren't needed so much. So like the kind candor. Okay, I'm horrible at kind candor. I'll stuff. Okay, I'll stuff, and then I'll come out of the side of my neck. Opposed to kind candor, where it's like, where I should just, you know, if something comes up that's kind of bothering me, I should handle it there and then. I'm getting better at it. I've identified that I'm a stuffer. Okay, so now I need to practice that. It's like working out. Like if I want to get big and badass, you know, it's like one of those things. It's a muscle. I gotta exercise that muscle. I gotta practice that. As painful as it might be at times, or, you know, nobody likes conflict. Nobody likes that, you know, to go bust somebody's bubble, or oh my God, what is he gonna say? Or he's not gonna like me.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever those fears are, you know, it's like I got to nip that in the bud. It's kind of like, and plus, how many people over the years have I lost due to not having kind candor?
Yes.
Like, think about that for a minute. How many people have I let go just because, and honestly, it was 50% of that was probably my fault because I didn't say something when I should have said something, and I got someone that's popping in my mind right now that I could have nipped so many things in the bud years ago But it got to the point where we both, neither him or I, could see eye to eye anymore. It was just, there was this bad, horrible resentment, and I could barely stand to look at him anymore. But anyhow, this is about you.
So, like, Dr. John Maxwell, and I'm not doing a RoofCon plug here, but
Do it.
we always talk about how there's a leadership lid, right? We all have a leadership lid. Do you think that part of that was because your lid was at that point and you couldn't properly lead that person any longer because you weren't growing as a leader? Is that part of it as well?
That could have been definitely part of it. There was probably definitely some things about myself that I didn't maybe identify at that time, where I had stopped growing myself. And I think a lot of that had to do at that time too. I was still working in the business.
Yes. Yes. We talk about that all the time. All these guys working. Everybody's like, man, Dylan, you travel all the time, man. Like, all you do is travel. All you do is go to these different places and meet these different people. And don't get me wrong, guys. Like, everybody busts my balls about it, but like, one, I'm mentally exhausted when I come home if I go run a retreat for somebody. Like, if I'm helping out, I just went and helped out another Revolt guy run a retreat, dude. And you come home and you're just like, whoa, like you need 2 days just to relax. And you don't get that because you're a business owner, man. Like, you got to go back and run the business that you freaking left off for 3 days. But, like, being able to step away from your business, I tell people that's the most powerful thing, because what it's going to do is you're going to find every fucking thing that's wrong with your business when you're gone that you can come back and now fix and correct and get it to the next level. And really, I know that kind of hems, but it also is like, we talk about like how you have a temperature, or you have a thermometer, and you can raise the heat of the room. Ed Milet talked about that at RoofCon. You can raise the heat of the room all you want, but it's still going to come back to here. Well, I think part of that, when you leave or when you become a better leader, you're raising that thermometer so that way when the temperature raises, it maintains. But yeah, you got to stop working on your fucking business, guys. If you're listening right now and you're not working, you're working in your business on a day-to-day basis, you're the only one that can make the sales, you're the only one that can run the materials, you're the only one that can order production, you're wrong, and you need to step your shit up. Like, holy crap, man. Like, that, I just want to smack the hell out of guys when I hear them say it.
And the bottom line is, it'll kill you.
Yep.
Trying to wear 15 different hats, and it almost did. I would say 5 or so years ago was when I think I knew it prior to that. I would say going back about 7 years ago, I knew, and I was saying to myself and my significant other, Jana, who you'll get to meet down there at DR, beautiful woman, kindest, just, you'll dig her, man. She's cool as shit. You'll actually get to meet the boss when we're in DR.
100%, man. She's the one that's calling the shot.
She's
every great man's got a greater woman, brother. Every great man's got a greater woman.
That's right, for sure. But she was telling me, like, you need to get help. You need to get help. You need to get help. And what was crazy is when I started to let things go, the 15 hats that I was wearing actually turned out to be 12 different jobs for 12 different people. You know what I mean? How crazy. I was driving myself, running around, working 7 days a week, 14, 16 hours a day, and I wasn't even working in the field anymore. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I probably was. I was.
Technically, you were, yeah.
Slinging siding down in Delaware, dude. My first week, and that was just 4 years ago. So.
Right. I still drive my pick 'em up truck, and I got my ladder rack and my toolbox and my tool pouch, bro. But I can't help it. I'm a good old boy from way back. I'm just a little more high techer today than I was when I first started out, and but you got to come to that realization. But that's when the business really started to scale. When I started to let go of that vine, okay, I let go of that vine. Baker started probably when that was really like going, like finally found somebody good. And what was crazy is Baker was hired to work in the office, and we tell this story quite often, bro. So he was going to crunch numbers and do other stuff because he was a roofer.
I have an accounting degree.
Yeah, he was a roofer but had an accounting degree. I'm like, yo, bro, I need some help with my books, bro. And because I'm not, I know numbers, fractions, and if I'm weighing ounces or quarter grams or whatever like that, I know how to read a tape measure. Okay, I know how to read a tape measure. Give me fractions, I'll figure it out. Anything beyond that, I better hire an accountant, probably an attorney too. Just kidding. No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
But Baker came on, and I was like, dude, this kid knows his shit. Like, we can't, like, we need him out in the field. So we turned over the service department to him. And he came up, I think at that time, I think I was still using a day planner. Or was that right before you started?
No, you had just started using the Google Calendar just to schedule roofing and stuff, but we were still doing everything on paper tickets. Like, I'd have to write these pieces of paper with addresses on them and shit to send the guys out to do roof boots and leaks and all that kind of shit. I was writing these papers, and like, the problem is, man, I get all these papers back from these construction workers with coffee, and if I even got them back,
right.
5 days later, I'm like, dude, I don't even know if this shit's done. And they're like, I don't remember. I'm like, how do you not remember? Like, you were there. Like, what do you mean?
Crazy.
Yeah, dude. So we turned to digital, man.
Yeah.
We turned to digital.
Yeah, we came into the 21st century.
And it's crazy, and I wanted to bring this up earlier, and I've said it for years, though. If you have somebody that fits within your culture, it sounds like, Chris, you were that person that fit within the culture. And then Ty's job, his only job, is to, one, get you hired, but then two, find you the right seat on the bus, even if it's not the job you hired him to do.
Yes,
right seat on the bus, baby.
Because the right seat on the bus gets the wheels moving faster.
Yes.
If you put him in the wrong seat, dude, good luck.
Yes.
Good luck.
Absolutely,
For
man. We
sure.
say that shit all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I refuse, and I just had this conversation with my team, my Maryland team, last week, and it's like, guys, I refuse to give up on somebody just because they don't know something.
Yep.
You know, it's my job as your leader to find out your seat on the bus. And if you're failing because of a training issue or something like that, like, that's my fault. You know what I mean? That's not even your fault. That's my fault. So it's our job as the upper management to find your place. Uh-oh. Our TV just turned off here, Vic. Yep.
That's all right. Can you still see us, Dylan?
Can you still see us, Dylan? And hear us?
Yeah,
Awesome.
You're
Okay.
Gucci.
I think the mouse pulled the plug.
It's on. It's just disconnected from like, the AirPlay or whatever. But yeah, I love that reference that you used, because we we literally call it the exact same thing. Find everyone's right seat on the bus, man.
That's right.
That's
And
good
that's
stuff.
our
Well,
job
and if they're a
today.
cultural fit, just because they're not, they don't, just because you don't have, maybe you want to hire a production seat, but they're better in the office. Like, throw them in the office, and I bet they'll make you money. Like,
Right.
for real, every hire I've ever made that was a right cultural fit made me money. And Ty, you kind of hinted on it. Like, we say it around our office all the time, and it's probably a really bad thing. And if my mom, who's my accountant, is listening, we say fuck the money all the time, man. Like, it doesn't matter about the money, and it's worked in our bank account. Like, my people come and ask me if they can order something. I'm like, will it make your job easier? Will it make your life easier? Just order it. I'm not going to sit here and approve a freaking pen holder because you need it for your desk. Just order the damn thing and move on. From that to all the way up to, a laptop or something. Like, man, you got to give your people the power. Ty, you were hinting on that earlier. Like, you have to give your people the power. And then when they don't have the power, you have to have the power within yourself to go find that help that you need, which is what you're hitting on there, Chris. Like, that's so valuable to be able to to be conscious enough to go, I don't know this, but I know someone who does.
Yeah.
Like, that's way better. And that's when we talk. Oh, that froze on you. Did it?
Nope.
Oh, we're
Nope.
good.
You're
Okay.
good, man.
Well, we're good. We talk about, like, the power of revolt. Like, and I'm not. This is not a plug for that at all whatsoever. But
Plug
like,
it.
man, you can reach in that group. Like, if your people need something, you don't know what it is. I guarantee you, there's someone in there that does. Or even roofing and sales community. It doesn't matter. It literally makes no difference as to which one you decide to go with. You use your network, because at the end of the day, that's your net worth. The money in the bank doesn't really matter if you're not going to do anything with it and impact
You
lives.
can't take that shit with you when you're going, man.
Absolutely. And as a leader, like you said, we need to provide the right tools. That's our job, and that's one of the things that was probably hardest for me is not knowing how to do everything, putting that ego and that pride down and admitting, like, look, I need help.
Yep.
I need help with this.
Yeah.
And probably one of the scariest things too, but I think the quicker a business owner or an entrepreneur or a roofing contractor can put down the ego and pride and stop acting like you know everything and reach out for help, like whether it be in the Revolt group or on Facebook, that's the difference today than it was 5 years ago. There wasn't the roofing groups and that culture. It was non-existent then.
Yeah.
How fortunate are we to have, mastermind groups, whether it be Revolt or Apex or, any of those other groups for guys to go to. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there wasn't anywhere for guys like us to go. We were figuring this shit out on our own.
Yep.
And it was from the school of hard knocks. It was from a lot of hard lessons and making a lot of bad decisions and treating people like shit along the way, because that's how I was taught. You ran shit with an iron fist, and you screamed at people on the job site. You threw hammers at them if you wanted to motivate them. That's that was our mentality back then, and maybe going back a little further than that, but but that's how we grew up. But today it's so different to be able to evolve into the roofing culture, the roofing groups that we have today, to be able to reach out and ask somebody. I think Vic posted something one day about ATAS metal or something one day, and didn't somebody get back to you right away on that?
I think they did, yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't go and do that 5 years ago. People were more than willing to jump in and help out today. And I think that's the beautiful thing. And I think that's how all of us can scale better and learn from each other. Like, I don't care if anyone ever wants to ask me about culture, by all means, I'll let you know exactly how I did it. I don't know if it's the right way or the wrong way, but this is what's working for us today.
Right.
You know what I mean? Next year there might be something else, but I do know you got to step up your game constantly, because shit kind of gets old after a while.
Yep. Well, and in today's world, my generation in particular, and throw out the freaking buzzword of being a millennial, we don't want necessarily like the older generation, my parents' generation, even my grandparents' generation, they were going after the top dollar, right? Like, where can I go make $100,000 a year, whatever the magic number was to them. Today, people don't want that, man. It's crazy the way the world works because of social media, and you want a place where you go and you feel like you belong and you're making a difference, not only in, and you guys, we were talking about this before the show, you make a difference not only in your environment where you work, but also the community where you live. That's what culture is. Yeah. It's not a freaking buzzword that you say, I have the best culture and we attract the best people. It is you actually living by what you stand on and believe. And then as a byproduct of that, and it's not necessarily a good byproduct or a bad byproduct, it's just the natural tendency of things, people will take less money to work in a good cultural environment. Absolutely. In my experience. Because they want to feel like they're fulfilled. Yeah. They want to feel like they belong.
Right. Yeah. If you do what you love every day, Dylan, you'll never work a day in your life, man.
I don't work at all. I say that every day when I wake up. And my fiance is the hardest working person, but I don't think she honestly works either. She works for her grandfather's horse farm. She truly has a passion for horses and educating people about horses. We go back to the education principle, and maybe where the education comes from. I know we didn't really talk about my story, but I actually have a teaching degree, believe it or not.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
We are.
We're going to get to that.
We can talk as long as y'all want, but I don't work, man. She works harder than I do every day. I may work longer hours most days, but I don't work. Like, there's nothing that I do that, and deeper than that, hearing my people say that they don't work. Hearing them say they enjoy coming to work, watching my brother evolve and watching him grow into the sales manager position that he's taken on, and telling me that he enjoys what he does every day and wants to do it for the next at least 10 years. We start talking about 5 and 10 year plans and setting goals, because that's what we do. You're right, Chris. Like, that is the ultimate freaking, like, you hear it like, oh, enjoy what you do, never work a day in your life. Like, dude, I can make freaking 2 nickels next week and I'm okay, because I enjoy what I'm doing and I'm fulfilling, and I know I'm doing my purpose. I know I'm doing what God put me here for, and that, to me, like, that ultimate euphoria right there, even though it's stressful, even though it's challenging, is like next level, man. Next level.
I agree, man.
100%, dude. I can honestly sit here and say that number one, I get to go and get paid to hang out in my happy place. You know what I mean? Like, I get paid for that shit. And I honestly don't, I don't even care if someone would double my salary, man. If I got to go somewhere and do something that I don't enjoy doing, like, I don't want that shit. I got a roof over my head. My kids are happy. I'm happy. Like, that's what life's about, man. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need all the fucking intangible bullshit. As long as you're happy, man, and you go home with a smile on your face and you got love in your household and you care about people, man, that's what matters.
Right on.
That's what matters.
Ty, good on you for creating that environment, that culture for Chris. I mean, for real, man. I don't know if people tell you that enough, and I know we none of us can hear kudos enough, but genuinely from the bottom of my heart, man, like, I am proud of the culture that you guys have clearly created, not only for Chris but the rest of the team. I mean, you can see it.
I know that I'm not the only one that says that. You know what I mean? I hear that, you know, outside of Ty being in the room. So like, it's not like when Ty's around we say that. You know, it's not anything like that. Like, people just legitimately enjoy being around each other, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good time. You know.
Well, and that's what we all as business owners want, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we all want that. And Ty, you achieved it, man. Like, you're achieving it every day. I shouldn't say you achieved it because you're not done.
Yeah.
Like, you're not done. You're not fucking close, man. Like,
we ain't stopping.
You're there. Like, you're the, and that's what maybe where I was saying that I'm so envious of what you guys have as far as the show's concerned. Not even envious, but like why this was a bucket list item.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool, man.
That is, man.
That's so cool, and thank you, Chris, for all, dude. That always makes my heart happy, and all the bullshit that I've had to go through over the years to figure that out. That makes my heart happy hearing you say that, because honestly, today, that's all that matters to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all that matters. And when you said that, you know, when you wake up and you're not going to work every day, you're kind of just, you're doing your thing, really, I guess is the best way to describe that. You know, up until, I guess, recently here, I've really been able to wake up in a different mindset. And I don't know if it was because of doing the Fearless 88 that we did. And now I'm doing the fucking 75 hard, and I'm exhausted right now. And here I'm standing, my legs feel like jelly. But
good on you, brother.
I'm such a freaking glutton for punishment. But you know, it's just crazy. You know, continuously trying to work on myself, because if I'm not working on myself and taking care of myself, and I'm not trying to make it sound like a selfish thing, but if I'm not taking care of myself and trying to take care of others, then I'm just a martyr. You know what I mean? I'm playing the martyr role right there. So first and foremost, it starts with me trying to take care of myself. And that's doing things like the Fearless 44 and stepping outside of my comfort zone. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Because if I'm not doing that, and plus these guys are watching. Mm-hmm. Okay? Everybody's watching. People do what they see. Okay. And that's why I go back to the little bit of the old school thing where it's like, you got to be the first one here and the last one to leave. If that's the type of culture that you want to develop, and that's where it really stems from, being the first one here and the last one to leave. And what's really cool is when you know that you've made an impact on people, is when Chris Baker's like, dude, you need to take off. You need to take some time off. Go away. When I say, hey, man, I'm thinking about going away, he's like, fucking do it, bro. Yeah. You've earned it. You've earned it, you know, and I think that's where a lot of younger guys that have only been in business, you know, 1 to 5 years, I think they're already trying to get that. I think they try to do that delegation thing too quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Before
what I mean?
They've earned the respect.
Right. Man. I think they're driving these fancy cars. They got the big house up on the hill. Like, they didn't, not that they didn't earn that. Okay. But I think you got to put the time in. You got to form the right tribe around you. And then when your team tells you to get the fuck out of here because you're getting probably on their nerves, that's when, I don't even want to say that's when you know you've made it, because we haven't. We're just now scratching the surface, but it's nice to know that the wheels on that bus will continue to keep turning when I'm not here.
When the driver gets off,
Thank
right?
God.
Dude, Ty, you remember when I first started, man, I remember if you would go away, you would have to forward your phone to people. He doesn't even have to do that anymore because shit don't ring.
No, not one time has it rang since we've been on this show tonight. I promise you.
Yeah, like that's the
same
difference,
exact way, dude. Like, my phone doesn't ring anymore. That is such a luxury. I mean, it rings after, like, I get calls after hours. I'm the guy, right? But like, well, and I think Ty, like, I'm hinting at that you and I, like, legitimately have extremely similar backgrounds, without saying it, but. I think the biggest challenge for me was when I started to delegate, because I did it by myself for so long and I was the only guy, is I expect me out of all these people I started to delegate to when I first started delegation. And that almost is worse in some aspects than it is if you just started delegating right out of the gate and wasted a bunch of money and did the phony role, if you will, and honestly force yourself into bankruptcy. I mean, we see it happen all the time. How many guys are in this industry for a year and a half and, you know, hey, man, I did $5 million in sales last year, and then poof, they're gone.
And have nothing to show for it. Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, Dylan, how did you get into this, man? I'm curious, because I feel that, number one, how long have you been in business and how did you get into roofing?
Okay, so been in business under this brand since 2018. I was actually delivering pizzas while I was in college. And so 2014 to 16, I had a family construction company that we did it all with my dad and my brother and my cousin. And that's another story. But in 18, I was delivering pizzas while I was in college. And I'm like, man, you know what? There's more fucking money out there. And I said, you know what? I can go sling some roofs. I grabbed freaking 2 delivery drivers and literally showed them how to throw panels on. And we were slapping metal on in our after hours, if you will. And that's how the whole wheel started turning. Hired a couple high school kids to roof with me that next summer. My brother got out of the Navy. The following summer, we kind of screwed around with some stupid freaking liquidation business for about a year, and then fully went back into it right in the height of COVID. Dad joined us in 2020. When he got laid off from COVID, put Dad back in the game. And that's where I talk about I couldn't afford his salary when I hired him. Mm-hmm. He had a number, right? I couldn't afford his salary because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, really. I mean, I did, but I didn't. And he's made me exponentially more money than I can even. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to be in business with my dad and my brother. I have accomplished what a lot of guys can't. And a lot of guys ask me how, and I say, you just don't do it. It's stupid. Trust me. It's not fun. But fast forward to now. We've expanded. We're on pace to do a 4X this year from what we did last year. Nice. Due to systems and processes. Now all 3 of my brothers work for me. The only one that doesn't work for me is my little sister. She's a school teacher, and I'm super proud of her in Texas with her husband. And yeah, man. So long story short, basically we took the long road, but 4 years is how long we've been in business under American Metal Roofing.
And you've done a lot in those 4 years, because I know a little bit of your story from the Revolt group, and people talking about who Dylan is and things like that, and picking up bits and pieces and watching you. We did a Fearless 44 together, so I for 44 days listened to you and your story and what you were involved with that day or the day before or tomorrow or whatever, all that. So I pay attention to that, and whether you know it or not, dude, I learned so much from you by listening to you. You always had something good to say, like every single night, and I was a little bit envious. I was like, how the fuck did this dude come up with something so relevant every goddamn night? Like, did you just finish reading like an Ed Milet book or a John Maxwell book, remembered that last paragraph and was like, okay, I'm gonna go live, guys, hold on. Or what? Like, what did you do? But seriously, dude, you've done so much in those 4 years, and I didn't mean anything in a negative way about guys being in business for 1 to 5 years, because I know you got that concept. I know that you're going to have to put your time in for a minute until you build that culture, get the right people on the seats, on the bus, and things like that, because you have surrounded yourself around some of the baddest motherfuckers in this industry. You know, whether it be Hunter Ballou, Eric Obram, all of those guys that are in the Revolt group, you've surrounded yourself amongst the elite people, the most genuine, authentic people, and it's giving me goosebumps because I'm grateful to be a part of it as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And just know, dude, I get more out of listening to you than you probably get listening to me. Just so you know
Not
that.
At all. No, I wholeheartely appreciate that, man. I get so much from you too. So do not discredit yourself. That is like, man, like I think that everyone in our lives is a plus or a minus. I think that concept, I had that concept before I heard John talk about the elevator principle. And I just want to be a plus, man. Like I talked about it. I was a wrestling coach for 9 years. And I used to tell my wrestlers all the time, you can impact someone's life with the most subtle, stupid thing. You will think it's stupid, but that person may not. Mm-hmm. And it could be as simple as you providing a smile with someone at the gas station. And I try to honestly live my life by that principle, because that someone at the gas station may be having the worst day of their entire life, and they could be getting ready to go home and do the unthinkable that none of us can really ponder, right? And your smile could be the difference.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Due to that business that I was in 2014 to 16, flash forward to 2016, $100,000 or $60,000 in credit card debt personally, which for a 22-year-old kid is astronomical.
That's a lot.
I went to school of stupidity. because I didn't know how to run a fucking business. Like I went from my dad, who was a siding installer, that said, "Hey, you take your materials and you double it, and that's how you run a business." Well, turns out in 2020, or well, I guess that was 2016, that's not how you do it. As I unfortunately found out and tried to run a business on credit cards. I was at that point. I laid in my bed for 8 months after that business failed and literally went to wrestling practice until I started started back at school, and then a year later started my roofing company again because I couldn't get out. Mm-hmm. It's crazy God has put me here for a reason, but you talk about how you had to get kicked in the teeth, Ty, to get where you're at. Mm-hmm. And God talks about if you want to do what I do, you got to do what I did, and most people don't want to. Like, nobody wants to do the hard shit.
No.
If I didn't get kicked in the teeth and claw my way out of credit card debt, I didn't file for bankruptcy. I paid back every creditor I had in full. I have a okay credit score, but I pay for almost everything in cash today. If I can't afford it, I don't buy it. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot of hard lessons in that because I got kicked in the fucking teeth. And if you don't get kicked in the teeth, then what does it really matter?
Right.
What does it really matter? And it's funny that you mentioned Eric. I guess you can't really see it, but I got the Eric over.
Hey, there you go, man.
This is the longest something has been on my wrist in my entire life. Like, this has not come off since RoofCon, and it won't come off till it breaks. Because I try to live by that. I'm so envious of Eric. And like you said, man, it's crazy. We are surrounded by so many badass motherfuckers, man, on a daily basis. Yes. If you'd have asked me a year ago if I'd be in the rooms I've been in with John Maxwell, Hunter Ballou, Eric Obram, even some of the close guys, like Bob Hull, who's one of my best friends now. He's actually going to be in my wedding. Like, just the impact that a year can make. Like, if you are watching this right now and you're struggling with something, wake up tomorrow, see what happens. Like, I am a living freaking context of that. I went from freaking Pizza Hut delivery driver to now I'm rubbing elbows with some of the most badass people I could ever dream to be around. Mm-hmm. And it changed my life for the better astronomically.
Yeah. Amen,
awesome,
brother.
Man. That's awesome.
So speaking of which, I wrote down a couple questions and, about wanted to ask you about what some of your biggest successes, your failures. You talked a bit about your failures, but what about depression and low self-esteem and what keeps you motivated today? If you don't mind talking a little bit about that, but because I know as an entrepreneur, we suffer from things like that. Like, not every day is tiptoeing through the tulips. It's trudging the road to happy destiny. Like, I get that. So how do you do that? Is there someone that you lean on, or what do you do to combat that?
I don't think it's just a someone, for one, when you say that. So, as a business owner, you're always going to struggle with, and I've been asked it on a few shows, imposter syndrome. Even Ty, I'm sure that it's something you've struggled with. Mm-hmm. We all, I'm not supposed to be here. This is not who I'm supposed to be. So we have to properly lean on those people around us. My number one is always and always will be God. I try to pray or meditate at least once a day. And my definition of prayer is probably different than most people, but I'll just sit in my truck and just, shoot some thoughts up. It's not like I'm sitting here like this or anything like that. Right. But that's number one, man. That relationship has helped me.
You got a stink bug coming for your neck right now, dog.
I'm glad you guys got them stupid ass things over there.
I tried to text him behind the scenes, but I was like, man, my man's moving up, about to crawl up in the view. I need to tell him right now.
Bro, that'd be a bad time. But that's number one. My fiance is my biggest supporter, hands down.
That's important, man.
Yeah, man. So our story, I got to share it just a little bit, but we both basically wound up in Nashville at the exact same time. She was coming fresh off a breakup. I was off a family vacation in the armpit of America, also known as Gatlinburg. And I'm like, screw this. I'm driving to Nashville for the night. I'm party animal. We wind up at the same bar. I walk in. She hates me because it's supposed to be girls' night. And basically, I just was on her like a dog on a bone, showed up here Easter Sunday, and never left. This is my house. I live here now. We got engaged in December back in Nashville. And never looked back. But it's crazy to me the way that she is able to equalize me out. As an alpha, there's not a lot of people, and I don't say this arrogantly, I promise, but there's not a lot of people that can put me in my place and smack me around. I'm the dude, and I don't do it hey, motherfucker, or anything like that. I'm just it's just my presence. It's who I am. I try to be assertive. I try to use my words. I try to be nice. But it's just who I am. And she's able to do that and balance me out. And when I'm having a bad day, like, she can sense it, obviously. Like, we know when our significant other's having a bad day, and she'll press me for it. Like, I don't like to talk about it. None of us do. Like, man, like, as a business owner or even as a higher up in a business, as a successful one, like, you want to keep that shit at work sometimes. Like, you just don't want to bring it home. But, like, sometimes you just got to get it off on somebody that's not directly involved with. So she's great. And then my confidant and my brother, one of my best friends, and then Bob Hole has been a tremendous, like, me and that guy talk. Actually, I think Tori's envious of the way that Bob and I talk. So it's a combination, man. And Hunter Ballou, I talked to that guy. I'm proud to call him one of my best friends as well. Like, man, you got to put a team. Like, it's just like with the business, man. Like, just because they're not making you money, they're making you emotional money. Like, you got to use them. You got to lean on those people and have those hard conversations and bounce ideas off of them and be willing to listen when they tell you, hey, that's stupid. you know what I mean?
For real. No, that's good, man. And that you responded to that question very good. And hopefully that opens somebody's eyes, because I know for me, going back to the ego and pride thing, like, I can handle this. I don't need any help. I'm not going to ask for any help. And I'm sure as hell not going to let another man know how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? To be able to open up to another person and not bottle that shit up, so you don't go home and, like, kick the dog and yell at the wife and things like that. Like, we need an outlet, and that's really important. That has always been important in my career. And Jana has been my sounding board as well. I had a I don't want to call it an episode, but I had, I needed a sounding board Monday night. Okay. And when I was done, I looked at her and I was like, thank you. She didn't get emotional. She didn't. She listened. She, was like, yup, and didn't even give me any feedback. I just needed to vent about some things that were swirling around in my little squirrel cage. And as soon as I was done, God, I felt so much better. But, I think as men, in the way that we were raised, is that we don't show our emotion. Nope. We cover up fear with anger. Okay, at least for me, you know what I mean? I'm Billy Badass. I'm not afraid. You know what I mean? But I think it's okay to show that sensitive side today. It is okay to reach out to another man and say, look, man, I need help. This is what's going on in my life today. This is what happened at work. I figured you would have some experience with it. To bounce things off people and listen to what they actually have to say, especially if they have experience in that particular area. It's so important in anybody's life, whether it be professional or personal, is to have that outlet that you can reach out to, or a network of people in case somebody doesn't answer the phone. There's somebody else that you can call to be able to open up to and just share your raw emotion and feelings with sometimes.
Yeah. And it's important to have that outlet, keep it real with you. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Because no one needs a fucking yes man that's just going to agree with everything that you say, man. You know what I mean? You need someone that if you're wrong, they're going to be like, nah, dude, you're wrong. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, you're wrong. You owe someone an apology, or you have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have that person, because otherwise, man, like, let's face it, there are yes men out there that'll just be like, yeah, man, yeah, I agree with everything you say. It's a great idea.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because, like, I was talking to Bob the other day about how I've got some investments in some stupid cryptos and stuff. I'm like, man, if those took off, I'd have $10 million in the bank. I'd go put it in freaking real estate, and I'd just retire. And he goes, no, you won't. I'm like, fuck you mean, dude? Like, no, I'm retiring, bro. He's like, no, you won't. Because I hear you tell me every day. And this just goes back to the yes man thing, right? Because I don't want to hear Bob just tell me, yeah, man, it's a great idea. He's like, no, dude, you tell me all the time. You tell everyone around you that when you get to heaven, God shows you who you were supposed to be. You want to beat that person. I'm like, fuck you, Bob. Like, that's like, come on, dude. Like, let me have my moment, dude. He's like, no, you'd have to push it to the next level. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I couldn't just retire at 30. Yeah. Like, I probably never will retire. In looking at it full perspective, because we go back to, I don't work. Like, I don't work. Why would I retire? Why would I quit what I'm doing?
Yeah, what are you retiring from?
Yes,
if you don't
I'm
work
retired
there,
already.
What are you retiring from?
Right. Seriously.
I'm retired already. Like, for real.
Yeah. I feel the same exact way, man. You know, I will always be doing something somewhere because I do enjoy what we do, especially more today than I had ever had in my entire career. It's fun. It is fun what we do on a daily basis, and the shit that we're creating and the people's lives that we're impacting, whether it be homeowners or the people within the community. It's amazing. And you touched on it earlier, Dylan, about, you know, letting, you know, roofing be the vehicle to us being able to inspire and impact people's lives on major scales. I mean, we do a good bit in the community a couple times a year where it makes a difference. Like, we're actually making a difference, and to watch it make a difference is awesome. Like, we are actually making a difference, bro. Like, this is working. Like, this is helping people is big, you know, and that's why we're here. This is what it's all about. And the paycheck, that's just a result of the work that we put in, removing ourselves from it and giving back, you know, continuously thinking about other people, not ourselves, or lining our pockets and giving back what had been so freely given to us. Because think about it, this shit's been given to us, man. Like, we're blessed to have what we have, and why are we not blessing other people with it? Because if we don't do that, we can't keep it.
Yes. God gave you the money he gave you because he knows the impact that you can make with it. He didn't give it to you because you're greedy. He gave it to you because he knows what you're going to do with it is for the better. Right? And when you have that mindset, you'll have an abundance of everything. It's not even about the money. Money is like, when you look at the actual concept of what money is, like this couch that I'm sitting on costs money, but the couch is the tangible asset. The dollars it's printed on are worth nothing. Look at Nazi Germany when they printed freaking $20 trillion like we're trying to do today. We won't talk about that. You said no politics. Sorry, man. Sorry. But anyways, so like, just because you have an abundance of money doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people who have tons of cash but have no fulfillment.
Right.
But I know plenty of people who are living modestly or even less than.
They have the most fulfilling lives, man.
They have a good relationship with their significant other. They have a good relationship with their children, their parents, their friends. They have good relationships that mean something. They're
wealthy, bro.
Yes.
They're wealthy.
They're the most wealthiest people you know.
Yes. You can be rich, but you're not wealthy just having money, man. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much more that goes into that, you know, because what does money actually get you? I mean, you can don't get me wrong, guys. Like, yes, it'd be cool to, you know, someone just come drop a fucking briefcase full of money off right here. It'd be cool as shit. But I mean, realistically, man, once that shit's gone, what do you have left?
It's a catalyst.
You know
All money is a catalyst, and even if it's not used properly, it's a catalyst in the wrong direction. My grandfather was not rich by any means, but one of the most wealthy men I've ever known, and led a fulfilling life because he had meaningful relationships. This guy would call me. He would actually text me. He had a 4th grade education. He would text me every single day. You couldn't understand it some days, but the intention behind it.
Right.
And I love that man with my whole heart. And unfortunately, went home to be with the Lord 2 years ago. But that impact had on my life, that I look at it now. We talk about the pluses and the minuses, man. Like, yeah, great. I want to make all this money, but it's not for the same reasons why I wanted to make all this money 10 years ago. It's now because I realize what I can do with that money to impact not only my life, not only my children's lives, but thousands of people's lives, maybe. How many people are there that we don't know that decisions we make today are going to impact?
Absolutely. It's
Absolutely.
cool to knowing that you're impacting people that you don't even know, and how many people that you're actually impacting.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Ty, even the Facebook Lives. You just talked about that. We didn't talk on the phone while those were happening.
Right.
But I was watching yours. You were watching mine.
Yes.
And then how many people were watching and didn't talk to us?
Right.
How many people did you have message you after the Fearless 44 and say, you know what, man? Like, watching you out of your comfort zone, like, dude, that was next level. Like, my fiance did it as well, and she is not. Like, I'm out in the open, man. Like, Facebook Live's like, yeah, let's do it. The diet was my problem, right?
Yeah.
And but watching her get on there and get in her element and do that, like, holy crap. And then to hear her say how many people were messaging her. You know, how many people, my first time around when I did it almost a year ago, I had a lady, she, like, literally was day 44. She's like, so what am I doing tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not probably going to get on here. I got stuff to do.
Jana and myself had the same response from people. Like, now what are you guys going to do? And I was like, take a break. But Jana, you nailed it on the head. We watched Brittany, Jana, Lauren, Vic's daughter, all came out of their shells on that stuff. They all stepped up to the plate. I mean,
dude, my girl bawled the very first day, like before she hit that live button, Dylan. I'm not even joking. Like, she literally like ugly cried. Because she was so nervous, man, so nervous. And like, to watch her first video and then watch the 44th video, bro, is like, dude, it's awesome. And now, like, so she just started her own business, right? I think she's been in business a little over a month now. And she just randomly does lives now. And it's like, before the Fearless 44, dude, she would never get on a live video, let alone stand in front of a bunch of people and talk and all, you know what I mean? And she's just comfortable doing it, you know, and it's just awesome, man. Shout out to you, babe.
Yeah.
Good shit.
For sure. Awesome. Shout out to everybody that did it.
Everyone that did it, man. We like you said, Ty, we saw a lot of people come out of their shells.
Oh, yes.
It was fun. And like you said, really watching the development of somebody, especially when they weren't comfortable, right? Like, somebody like me, I try to do a lot of public speaking. I'm a salesman. I'm out talking to people all the time. Okay. You know, you guys, same exact story. But when you talk about, like, the people who you watch that, like, the first time they're on there, like, they're watching to see when 2 minutes is. And they're just, like, locked in the phone and they're looking over here. And you're like, man. But then watching them then on that last one, they're providing so much value. And they're going over that time. Because now they're just so comfortable. It's like having a conversation like we're doing right now. Yes. But no one's there. That's the goofy part about Facebook.
Right. It's crazy. It really is. And who would have thought that something that simple could take you mentally or physically to the next level of confidence?
Yeah.
I guess. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of it is fear, obviously, and low self-esteem. Like, oh, my God. You know, I can't do this. People aren't going to, I'm going to sound stupid. I'm going to look stupid. No one's going to listen to me. Whatever goes through your mind before you hit that live button. But when you're done, like that sense of relief and like that confidence that give, you know, 10, 15 into it, you're like, all right, let's do this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And by the 44th one, it's like, dude, it's all, I missed it. I almost wanted to continue to keep going live because I felt like something was missing in my life.
Well, and Chris, if you watched my live the other day, I literally said, I felt like I was supposed to say this is day something. I'm fearless. Like, I got up there and I'm like, oh crap. Like, it becomes so natural. And you're right. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy, but even crazier than that, and anybody that's watching that wants to do Fearless, do it. Or if you don't want to do it, do it. The impact you're going to have on people that you'll never talk to. I had a kid the first go around. I was literally would do my workout and do my live at the same time. He messaged me the other day, and I think he lost 60 pounds as a direct impact of my inspiration. Like, dude, I wish I could lose 60 pounds, but watching him was better than me losing freaking 100 pounds or 200. Like, that fulfillment that comes from something as minute as it may sound, so much freaking greater. And that's the impact you can have. You don't have to be an business owner to make impact.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell no.
Dylan, what motivates you, man? What motivates
you? That's actually a really good question. And I wasn't expecting it. And I appreciate that because I like being uncomfortable. But my motivation comes from a few different areas. Mainly my failures in the past motivate me a lot. Proving that Dylan wrong, even though, like, obviously I can't necessarily do that, is a big thing. But then also being able to provide for all these different people, right? Like, there's so many people that I'm able to provide for on the homeowner side, on the people who work for me side, whatever. And then also, you know, so one of my goals that I set in December, right? We were doing a goal setting, and this is a motivation, but not, right? I wrote down, I knew I was we were on a Revolt trip, and I was going straight from that Revolt trip to Nashville to get engaged. My fiance didn't know it. Like 3 people knew it total. And I wrote down that I was going to give her a dream wedding regardless of cost. Like, it didn't matter. But deeper than that, it's not a monetary thing, but being able to provide her with a life that she deserves is a huge motivator for me now. It wasn't a year ago. If you'd asked me a year ago, it'd have been because I can go and travel and party, stupid shit. But now being able to provide her and our future children a life is a big motivator now, right? And then, Ty, you hit on it. I can't let these people down. There's freaking almost 20 people that work for me on a daily basis, not including myself. These are direct employees. Like, dude, that's motivation now. That's the fire. That's the belly. You can't ever let them see you nervous. You can't ever let them see you like you're gonna fail. They've got to know that we're just gonna do it.
Right.
Like, we talk about our goals. If this happens, it's when, or it's going to, or we're going to surpass that. Like, and that mindset and we talk about it all the time is huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I see on the top of your Facebook page, man, you got your future wife Tori's name up there. Who's Paisley and Tucker?
Our dogs.
Oh, word. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I thought that they were your kids at first. When I first read that, I thought you had a little boy and a little girl. But then you said our future kids, and I was like, I wonder if that's just like a niece and nephew, or what kind of significance does that have? Just random question, man.
Actually, our dogs are right there. They got their own picture on the wall.
Oh,
nice.
there you go.
They did pictures
Awesome,
with
man.
us.
That's an awesome picture.
But yeah, no, thank you. But no, man, I mean, they're a motivator too, but even deeper than that, like, man, how cool would it be? And you guys both have kids. And like I was telling you, Ty, to watch and learn from these tremendous fathers and husbands and partners and hear about how they treat not only their kids, but their significant others is a massive asset. And I encourage any young man to do it. But how awesome would it be to say that Dylan Mullins was my dad? That's a motivator to me now.
Yeah.
Like, I want to lead a life that my kids can be proud of. And I don't have kids. Like, I'm just thinking that those couple steps ahead. Also, I'm like 28, so I'd like to not be the old dad if I can avoid it. So we're like trying to push that ahead. But
There you go.
That's my biggest motivator, man. I have two 16-year-old twins. Well, about to be 16. I got a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old. So, my biggest motivation is to make sure that they take the good things from me and not the bad things, and not have to go through the shit that I went through, the hard ways of learning things. That to have a good work ethic and above all else, man, just treat people good, man. You know what I mean? Like, I care about that so much. That's what I want my legacy to be. I want to be known. I don't, fuck the work and the money and all that shit. I want to be known as somebody that always treated people with respect. That way I don't have little shits running around that, I got to keep control of. You know what I mean? I want to raise respectful kids that contribute something to this world. You know what I mean? That motivates me. So
absolutely.
I love your answer, Dylan. I love it, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So what would you say some of your biggest lessons have been over the past 4 years?
Ooh. Let go. That's my biggest one. You have to let go of, and Ty, we were hitting on it earlier, but being able to let go of trying to micromanage because you don't have that capacity. I don't care who it is. No one man can do everything that we do in a business on a day-to-day basis. You can do it in the beginning, but you'll work yourself to the bone. I remember those 18, 20-hour days where you were going out, putting the roofs on, going to appointments and selling them thereafter, where you're everybody, you're still everybody when you're the boss, and it sucks. Like everybody's like, man, it must be nice to be the boss. Like, no, it's not. Must be nice is probably my least favorite human.
I hate a must be nice motherfucker. I hate
bro. Whew. Like,
hate that
gloves
shit.
off. Let's fight right now. Must be
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. If you've seen what I had to do to get here, you probably wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But delegating and letting go, and then on top of that, reaching out and using your network. Like, I remember when I got back on all the Facebook groups in 18, it was like the ones I joined were like a bunch of dick measuring contests, man. And I'm like, dude, these aren't my people. And like they're up there like, man, I can shingle better than you. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to be a shingler. Like that's what I don't want to be. But then when I found roofing sales community or solar community as it's called now, and things like that, and then you start reaching out and using your network, like man, like I was so afraid that what I had was the secret sauce. But when we start talking and looking, everybody has the same shit in their hands. Like, what I have is mine. You can't have it. No, stop that mentality and start to give to the guys who don't have, and you'll start to receive shit that you will take you. Matt Daskins gives the concept. Does anybody know why he's called why he calls himself the time traveling roofer? So Matt calls himself the time traveling roofer because he takes what he knows and puts people 5 years ahead of where he was. If that makes sense.
That does.
So instead of learning shit the hard way, he moves him to the next level. Matt tells it in like a 3-hour epilogue. I gave you the short answer. Like literally, you don't need to watch it. I gave you the clip notes. But no, he's a really good dude. Love Matt. His system's awesome. But like those are probably the two biggest things, man. Like delegate within your business as soon as you can afford it. That's the big key. And you're never going to really know when you can afford it. But once you think you can, that's when you need to start. And then from there, like, just do smart hires and hire the right people and put them on the bus. And then the second one is to take advice and give it when you can. I'm in a very fortunate spot now. I mean, I just had a call with a guy on the way over. We were grabbing some dinner, and guy called me and he was like, "Hey, man, I just turned down I've turned down like 15 metal roofs in the last 7 days." He's like, "I want to learn how to actually do metal." And we had a conversation like 4 months ago at a freaking conference. And he's like, "I need you to come teach me, or I need you to jump on a Zoom call with me." I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's fine." Because I realize if I give him some knowledge today, I may need something from him tomorrow. And even if I don't, maybe he knows somebody that can help me. And that hunters and gatherers mindset of, sometimes you're the hunter and sometimes you're the gatherer. And it's not necessarily in the traditional sense, right? Sometimes you're out getting the knowledge and sometimes you're gathering it from other people. It's not like what we talked about otherwise. But you got to have that mindset of, we're a village. We all have the same shit going on. We're all dealing with the same homeowners. We all have the same customer complaints happening. We all have the same sales process. We all have the same production problems. We all have the same, the same supply chain issues. All of these are all of our issues. We're not alone. Right. Most of your problems are a stem of somebody else's problems or a version that just sounds better in your head, and you can probably help them out.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, I like the hunter and gatherer.
Yeah. I like that.
There. Yeah,
that is good. Dylan, what would you say is your proudest moment since you've been in business? What's your proudest moment? First thing that comes to mind.
The ability to work with my brothers on a daily basis, my father. I'm actually getting a little emotional thinking about it.
Yeah, I honestly, man, like in the little bit of time that we spent on this podcast, I expected you to say that. That's what I was expecting, man.
So my one of my younger brothers came to me and he's like, "Hey, man, I want to be in your position." And I said exactly what we've been talking about this entire podcast. Like, bro, you're not ready. Yeah, a few more times. Like, it's like asking to go from freaking bitty wrestling to fighting in the fucking UFC. Like, you're not going to do it.
Right.
But he quit college. So he's 19 years old, man. Kid. Quit college this last fall. He was playing college baseball, but due to a couple injuries, he can't play. Hell of a baseball player. Hell of a competitor. Grew up with two very hyper-competitive older brothers. I have another brother that's in between. He's our sales manager. He's the one I own the company with. And watching him grow over the last honestly, man, this is like the last 2 months, has been my proudest accomplishment in business. Now, I'm not taking anything away from anyone else that has worked for me, because I am super proud of all those people and how far they've come as well. But watching him get into his own and take on, he's running a 350 square, he's running that apartment complex that I was on. Awesome. I was recording. I threw him to that. I said, "Hey, man, this is you. You're the dude. The job's sold. I just need you here. Production management. We need a."
That's hot.
His own is awesome. It's my proudest moment, hands down. Super proud of him. Super proud of all my brothers. They've all, all three of them have stepped into tremendous roles. Even my dad. And that a lot of that comes from the fact that I was doing all this by myself not that long ago.
Right.
And then be able to bring them into the business and watch them, do their thing. Man, like, holy shit.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah, for real.
That's what it's about. That's so fulfilling.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's about. Like, it doesn't get any better than that,
Yeah.
and you can't trade money for that. You can't buy that.
Well, that's where we talk about cash is worthless, man.
It is, man. It is. Because
Chris, I could go to you today and be like, "Hey, I want you to be in my business, man." No,
nah,
you can't.
dog.
It's experience.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think you can give me enough money.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, I'm not saying that because I honestly think I wouldn't do that. But I'm just saying you definitely run the type of outfit that is attractive. You know what I mean? So your people are going to feel the same exact way that I do about this guy. You know what I mean? Your people feel that about you, and I can just tell it just by the man that you are.
Yeah, for real. For real. And I was going to ask you, what do you think your biggest success was? But you answered it, bro.
Yeah.
I don't even have to ask you that question. And that accomplishment to rally the troops together and bring your family together like that and still be together today, that in itself is next level accomplishment shit, because let's face it, working with family isn't always the easiest thing to do.
It's really not, man. It's not.
Horrible. It's honestly, it's coming from a guy. Literally 75% of my W-2 employees are related to me. Coming from that, it's very hard. It can be. There's a fine line you have to walk, and like guys ask me all the time, how do you work with your brothers? And I'm like, you just have to make it work. Like, you have to create a pecking order, just like anything else. But creating that can be much more difficult because of prior relationships.
Right.
And I think that's mainly the issue.
Yeah.
But no, I really do appreciate that gentleman. I really do, sincerely from both of you. That's a tremendous compliment.
Yeah.
We got the man Hunter in the chat right here. What's up, Hunter?
Oh,
How
Baloo.
you doing, dog? He's gonna say group of studs, man. Takes one to know one, bub.
That's right. But it's funny because a lot of people can't work with family, and what they don't tend to realize at times is like it doesn't get any better than that, and there is no tribe thicker than that. If you all can work together, I can't even imagine the things that you guys can accomplish because of the trust. The loyalty, the brotherhood, the family. When you say you're a family-owned and operated business, that's no joke right there. And to be able to accomplish the things that you guys accomplish on a daily basis, that has to be fulfilling for everybody, because with them knowing that you're in their corner and vice versa, has to do something for your self-esteem. And, I wished things were different on our end of things, because there were some family members that I was in business with many years ago, and then my son worked for us for a little bit, and it's like, to have the world by the balls like that, to be in a position that you guys are in, because whether if you know it or not, you guys have the world by the balls. Like, to work with your family on a daily basis like that and be able to get along, and not that things are pretty all the time. I'm sure they're not pretty all the time, but because it's family, you may say some of the most ignorant things probably to each other, but 5 minutes later, you're apologizing to each other, and that's probably the most beautiful thing about that. And I can't even imagine what your other coworkers think when they see you guys going through that stuff. But I'm sure it's pretty comical. But damn, that's good stuff right there, man. For you to be able to take care of your family and your dad right now, like, you're playing it forward right now. How many years has your dad, your father, taken care of you? Not that he's still not playing his role today, but you teed that up for him. And that's pretty cool shit right there, bro.
Yeah.
That's next level cool, really cool shit.
Yeah, and coming from a dad, like we're dads, right? I can honestly think that I can say that man is probably so fulfilled, coming to show up to work with his son every day. You know what I mean? That his son built that.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like, he gets to go work for his son every day. Like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's fucking awesome.
Well, and I'm not going to say he doesn't get fired or quit on a weekly basis.
I'm sure.
That shit happens, man.
Yes,
It's the greatest and can be the worst thing that there is, man.
And the problem is we're well, now we have that third brother, right? Or that third head.
Right.
That we're all the exact same. My other two brothers are a little bit different mindset wise, but like we butt heads so much, man. But yeah, and I mean, you asked about my purpose. That was part of it, man. Like I watched my dad work very hard. He's literally one of the best guys I've ever seen with siding in my entire life. Like I tell guys, when I get a siding installer in my office, I'm like, you're sitting around one of, if not the best siding installer in the state of Ohio, hands down. He just was and still is. He just can't perform to the capacity where he once was, but still, like mindset wise, like smarter than most of us think. He's book smart, like not a super intelligent guy. That's not a knock at my father, but our education system bases all these freaking checks and balances. Instead of pushing kids towards the trades, we push them towards college. It's another story for a different day.
Oh yeah, we could have a whole fucking episode about that.
Oh yeah.
Dude, never mind. But no, so like watching my dad work that hard, man, I'm like, man, I gotta build something that is an engine so my dad can retire. He was a 1099 all of his life, man.
Yeah.
He's a 1099 that didn't have a honey hole, didn't have he was too busy raising 4 boys.
Right.
4 boys that he provided a very good life for.
Yeah. Shit's not cheap.
So, no, kids are not cheap, man. And I realize that. So I'm able, the pride that I have that I'm able to do that and able to provide that vehicle is huge. So I appreciate you gentlemen for giving me that, paying me that compliment, man. You guys are just too nice tonight.
No way, dude.
Nah, man. No. Listen, man. You're for only being in business 4 years, being a millennial. I'm going to put that in big quotation marks, because you don't have the millennial mindset that the world gives millennials. Sometimes they don't really get a good cut. Millennials just have a bad rap sometimes. And I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. I'm more on the end of things. I'm 35, so like I was I was brought up the same way. Get shit thrown at you if you measure it wrong, get screamed at, get called names that I don't want to say on here, and all that kind of stuff. But I also was around to usher in the internet, usher in technology that, it was cool when I was young. So it's like, it wasn't a foreign thing that I was like, fuck that. I don't want to learn how to do that. So, I'm right in that sweet spot, but you're so far advanced, into where your mind is right now, man. Like you're on a good path, dude. You're a good dude. And
Yeah,
you're
for
on a
real.
good path, man.
Yeah, man. You have bright things in your future, bro. No doubt in my mind. You got the tenacity, you got the energy, you got the right people around you, especially family, and the network of people that you have between Hunter and Eric and your buddy Bob. I'd like to meet him. Hopefully he's going to DR with us so I can actually.
Yes,
I met him down at Revolt, but may have talked to him briefly. But I'm friends with him now on Facebook, and I see what he's about.
Yeah.
And he's definitely somebody else that I would like to have in my network, and along with you. So if anything else comes out of this podcast tonight, selfishly, hopefully that'll bring us closer to network more and just maybe talk more often than we do now.
For sure,
and
brother.
not just through social media.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think, the thing that oftentimes as business owners, we put this excuse out, and you look at the time we actually waste driving or sitting around the office tiddly-dicking or whatever. And when we can pick up the phone and call a friend, I've taken an honest and intentional mindset to make a few phone calls a day, right? That maybe it's somebody I won't talk to. Kind of like that scroll dial from Fearless 44, but maybe do it with somebody that I network with because I provide them value, or I network with because they provide me value. Because at the end of the day, like, once again, we talk about the hunters and gatherers, man. Like, sometimes you're gathering. And sometimes you can call that person and they may need some help, or sometimes you can call that person and they may provide you with something you had no idea you were going to talk about that day.
Yeah,
right.
So
exactly.
And not only that, Dylan, I don't mean to cut you off. Not only that, but like when you make that phone call, you might just be that person that they needed to talk to today. You know what I mean? Like you just may be that ear that they were afraid to reach out to. You know what I mean? Or whatever, and we got to be more conscious of that that you never know what people are going through, man. People are able to wear masks and hide shit, man. And life's short. We just lost a member of our team a week ago, and it's definitely got some eyes open around here that, like, you really got to fucking take advantage of shit, man. You really got to live life and, not be afraid to, reach out and because you never know, man. You can do all the practicing you want and all the, setting up to make sure that shit doesn't happen to you when, you just never know, man.
We're all going to make the ultimate exit. Right. We're all going to make it. Hunter talks about it all the time. Hunter, if you're still on here, I'm giving you all the credit in the world for that one, brother, because that's not me. When I show up at a retreat and I'm helping some guys out, I'm always talking about it, and I'm giving Hunter all the credit in the world. But if you haven't had the opportunity yet, they put on Lex's eulogy reading from his free retreat. And Lex died, I believe, 4 months after he was at his free retreat. Found out he had terminal cancer, and boom, he was gone. And, you never know what's going to happen. And it's crazy, man. Like, just, like we sit here and talk about it all day, man.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
You have to live your life. You have to live your life. That's number one. Like, don't try to live what someone else wants you to do. But number two, man, like, just bring some value to others. Whether it's a smile at the gas station in the morning or whatever, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Just, like you said, Chris, you could be that person that changes. Like, they could be the person that turns them in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man.
And goes from that dude slinging pizzas to the dude on one of the most badass podcasts on the internet.
Absolutely.
Like, for real, man. Who was the person that changed me? Who was that one person? I don't particularly know. Right? Because there were points in my life, because I was going through some other stuff. I had a girl cheat on me that was my high school sweetheart, and then forced me through that relationship, and then a bunch of other stuff just compounds on top of it. And, like, we talked about earlier, and I know we're kind of circling back, and I'm sorry if that's boring anybody. Mm-mm. Dude, if you feel like you need to go talk to somebody but you can't talk to anybody in your circle, do not be afraid. There's nothing wrong with going to a counselor. I did it. Like, mental health, man, is super important.
Yes.
And, the reason why you see this guy that you see today is because my mental health's right. But if yours isn't, like, don't be afraid to go talk to somebody. Bill was one of my favorite human beings on the planet. Great guy. Talked to him for like freaking 10 weeks in a row, man. Got my head back in the right place, and we're good to go. But forgot kind of where I was going with that a little bit, if I'm not going to lie. But regardless, man, like, just the impact you can have on people is more than you know.
Yeah.
And you have powers beyond your own belief. You just have to believe enough in yourself to do it, or somebody needs to provide that kick. And you can be that person that pushes somebody to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
But you got to live every day without regret. You got to live every day without, question, and make sure that people. Another thing, man, that I've encouraged people, and we do it around our office all the time, and I am related to 75% of them, but my brother actually started. I can't take credit for it. We tell our guys we love them all the time. Like, we tell them, hey, man, I love you. Like, for real. Mm-hmm. And it's not just because we want some BS frou-frou, look at me. It's because we truly love our people, and they know that.
Right. No, and we do too. We throw that around quite often too, and we don't take that lightly when, when the girls leave at night or whenever someone's leaving, it's always like, yo, love you, man, have a good night. And we take that to heart. In life, I was thinking when you were talking earlier, life is too short to walk around miserable or with a grudge or resentment and stuff like that. It's like, and that's the thing, like, I didn't come this far to just remain miserable. We were talking about stuffing earlier. It's like, it's not fair to me and it's not fair to that person. Mm-hmm. To live life like that with a knot in your chest or a chip on your shoulder. And believe me, I lived that way for many years in my younger days, where I was miserable. I was unhappy. I was angry. And I had to seek help as well. And mental health is no joke, and it's real. It's real. And I think that's where, reaching out, and that's where I was kind of going with, like, who do you talk to? Because let's face it, depression, low self-esteem, it's real. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's a real thing. And me being a man, I'm sitting here live on a podcast talking about my feelings, my emotions, that I get upset at times. I need someone to talk to at times because I don't know all the answers, and it's okay to cry. And I'm not going to get all crazy on this, but I'm just saying, it's like, if I have an emotional breakdown, it's because I probably needed it and I'm tired of holding it in. Mm-hmm. you know, and that was kind of one of those moments on Monday night, not quite to the point where I was bawling and ugly bawling or anything like that, but there was just some shit that was swirling around in my head that compounded because I tend to stuff things and I don't a lot of times nip things in the bud right there and then because I'm a man and I can handle this thing. You know, but I know when the pain's great enough, I'll get off my dead ass and do something about it because if I don't, my attitude starts to affect people around me. And being in the positions that we're all in, we can't do that. We can't do that because people pick up on that shit right away. And it'll be a culture killer. I don't want to be the culture killer because I'm dealing with some shit and probably going to take it out on somebody else that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, dude, we do not want to have to get rid of your ass, dude.
Right?
I don't want that to happen.
Right on, man. Right. But, man, this was a great show, man. We've been on here for an hour and a half, and I didn't even realize it till right this second.
I know, right, dude? We could literally, Dylan, I could talk to you for 3 straight hours, 4 straight hours. Like,
let's hook up again, man.
This is
like, I don't
stuff.
care if we meet in Pittsburgh or halfway or let's, like, before tonight's out, let's exchange phone numbers. Let's get numbers. And let's stay in touch, man, like on a regular basis. Not like an everyday thing, but I don't give a fuck if it is every day. But let's.
Like I said, we all got time we waste, man.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
It's totally fine.
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's exchange numbers, man. Let's make this happen. I want to thank you guys again for having me on, like, for real.
Me too.
It's been a complete honor of mine. And, you know, if I can just affect one person with this, you know, I set a goal to get on 10 podcasts this year. You guys were part of that goal. But the reason behind that is because I want to affect people's lives that aren't maybe people that I would normally affect. And you guys have helped me do that. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for helping me achieve my purpose and provide me with a little bit of fulfillment, you know, taking a couple hours just to chat with me, man. Like, we do got to link up, though. We'll link up for sure, fellas.
Absolutely, man. You're entirely too close not to, man.
Seriously.
Entirely too close not
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, TC Backer family, it's with a heavy heart that I got to end this, man.
For real.
This has been a good episode. I appreciate you guys. Zach Fisher, man, you're one of the greats. David KX. There's been too many people in here for me to sit here and shout out. I apologize, guys. Just know that we do see you. And we appreciate you guys for constantly being in here, man. If you have not already, make sure you guys hop over, give Dylan's Facebook page, his business page, American Metal Roofing, give that some love, give that a like and a share. He's a great guy. He's a great business owner, a great man. So make sure you guys show him some love. We appreciate you guys always supporting us, man.
Oh, yes.
We wouldn't be this without you guys. So, looking forward to next week. I believe next week we got Patrick Carr coming on.
Yeah, Patrick Carr with the Patrick Carr Show will be on next week.
That'll be a good one. But awesome. Yeah, man, it's been real, man. Everyone enjoy the rest of the good weather this week. And we'll see you guys back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
That's right.
For episode 125. Dylan, it's been great, man. We appreciate you. Don't cut out here when we do the exit video. We're gonna have an exit video, so don't hang up. But everyone else, we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
GC Backer, roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar.